Hey everybody, welcome back to the table. It's Buck's Gearbox. I'm Lyle, and today we're looking at this Reeve Knives Umnumzaan. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons and my supporters. Those of you who like and subscribe my videos, I really appreciate it. Thank you to my friends at River's Edge Cutlery for enabling me once again. It's called the Boss, and I call it a Grail. And it's a very hard to find relic of a knife that is made by one of the best designers in the USA. This is the knife that won Blade Show Knife of the Year in 2008, so it has been around a while for sure. Some would say it's a dinosaur now, but it was super cutting edge. I'm sorry. It actually was pretty cutting edge back in the day, but some people right now might believe it's a little bit dated in its design. However, I just don't care about that. Let's go see what you get in the box. All right, here's the pseudo unboxing. Obviously, I've already opened it, but I still want to show you what you get in the box because opening a Reeve knife is a pretty special experience in my book. Their packaging is kind of like akin to an Apple product. There you have the details there of what's in the box. Crucible Industries makes the steel, and yeah, let's open this bad boy up. Put that away. Get a pretty nice kind of a textured paper folder here. Has some interesting stuff in it. You get a sticker. You get what's commonly known as the birthday card. Tells you what's in here, when it was made, put together, all that stuff. You can pause that if you'd like to read it. It's a guarantee. The registration material. And this is cool. There's a little bit of a story here. I'll pause that as well, or you can pause that, sorry, and read that. And then over here you got a little bit of a timeline, the history of Reeve Knives. And then this is really cool. This is one of the companies that is like, hey, take our knife apart. It'll go back together. It'll be great. You should do it. They show you how. And then they give you some notes on taking care of your knife. I just think this is super cool. So yeah, you can pause that and read that if you want. You can pause that and take a look at that if you would like as well. All right, call this back in the folder because I do not want to lose it. And all of the CRKs come wrapped in one of these microfiber cloths. Really cool. Just one note, my small Sebenza right here came with a leather sleeve that you can carry it in. The bigger knives, I don't think they do. I've never had a large Reeve knife come with one of those slip cases, but they're very cool. Also in the box you always get the tools you need to take the knife apart, and some Loctite and some grease to smooth up the action if you need it. And I just think that's really cool. Companies don't have to do that, but we all of us knife nerds really like it when companies do. So that's what you get when you open a box. All right, let's talk about some specs. 8.5 inches. This is kind of a big knife. 3.6 inches of blade. You can get it in drop point or tanto. I have the tanto, obviously. It weighs about 5 ounces, so it's not very lightweight. Beefy slabs of milled and blasted titanium. An over travel stop with the Reeve Knives logo on it. It's a frame lock, which Reeve pretty much invented, with a ceramic system for locking and detent. It adds to that legendary Reeve experience of smoothness. Right hand tip up only carry, but CRK makes dedicated left-handed knives. So that's really cool. It comes with a CRK lanyard, which, you know, a lot of people don't like, and this will probably go away at some point. I only tend to like lanyards on my smaller knives, personally. And it even has a glass breaker that is just literally part of the blade. Pretty cool. This one is in Magnacut steel, and that's awesome. It's going to stay sharp, it's going to stay strong, and it's going to stay very corrosion resistant. If you're not familiar with what Magnacut is, that's kind of the short definition, but basically most knife steels, they excel in one or two areas among strength, edge retention, and rust resistance. And it doesn't mean those steels are bad. That's actually really normal. But what makes CPM-Magnacut so special is that it's really good in all three areas and it doesn't suffer in any one. More and more makers are putting this steel on their knives, and it's a pretty exciting thing. So that's a lot. This thing is premium and it's scarce, pretty hard to find. The best way to get one is through a dealer like River's Edge Cutlery. If you order from the CRK website, you can go in there right now and it will tell you that you're looking at a lead time of about 4 years, which is a little crazy. They're in pretty high demand. There will be some links in the descriptions below to River's Edge Cutlery, and I am an affiliate, and anything you buy from there will definitely help out the channel, and I appreciate it, but you don't have to. They always seem to have a handful of Chris Reeve knives in the store and online, but it's kind of random depending on which ones are available at the time. And honestly, in my opinion, with a Chris Reeve knife, you can't really go wrong as long as you like the one that you're getting. And one big caveat is that these are not really known to be fidgety knives. If that's what you want, CRK is probably not what you want. More about that later. Let's go do some size comparisons. So we'll put it up with the knives I always start out with, the PM2 from Spyderco and the Para 3. These are some of my most carried knives of all time, and a lot of other folks carry these knives all the time as well. You can see the Umnumzaan is a pretty big knife because the PM2 is also a pretty big knife. And we'll put it up against some other pretty well-known everyday carry blades. There's the Benchmade Bug Out. And here is one of my favorite knives of all time, the ProTech Malibu Flipper, also in Magnacut. Very cool. And there you have those. Let's put it up against some of its, in my opinion, some of its kind of premium competition. There's the Spartan Harsey Folder, full size. And this is the Hinderer XM18. In my opinion, these are three of the best full-size knives that you can get that are, you know, around the same kind of price point. They're all hard use. You could all kind of, and I know that people might not like this, but if you want a fixed blade but you don't want to carry a fixed blade, these are going to perform as if they were just as strong as a fixed blade because they're so dang tough, and they are meant for hard use. They just happen to look really good doing it. And these are my three favorite kind of high-end production knives that you can get, USA made. Excellent stuff. You can't really go wrong. All right, next let's put it up to some of its I don't know, brothers and sisters or something. That was weird. It's not what this is. There's the small Sebenza, which won't stand up straight, and there's the large Sebenza. The Umnumzaan is obviously, it's just about the same size. Again, with Chris Reeve knives, I just kind of think pick the one you like, and it's gonna last you forever, and you're gonna enjoy it. So what do I think? This is a full-size absolute beast of a knife. Chris Reeve is from South Africa. My wife actually grew up in Zimbabwe, and I've been there once, which is really, really cool. The company is now in Idaho, United States of America, and they are one of our most well-known and sought-after knife makers here, and for good reason. Their designs are bomb-proof. They put their knives together with this crazy amount of fit and finish. The tolerances are so good. I've taken down a Chris Reeve in Kosi before, and even without the pivot screw in place, the knife stayed together and you could operate it. It's wild. It's not a fidget toy for sure. I mean, you can fidget with it, and I do. And actually, I think this is one of the more flickable Chris Reeve knives that I have ever experienced. But again, if you are into a knife, if you want a knife just because of the fidget factor, this might not be for you. These are built to be broken in and get smoother and smoother the more that you mess with them. Although you can fidget with it, but they're more meant for their smoothness. Everybody calls it kind of glass-like, hydraulic. All that stuff that you hear about Chris Reeve knives is actually pretty accurate, but you can flip them. These will get super smooth over time. As I mentioned before, the tolerances are so good, and they send you the tools, as I showed you before, to take this thing apart and mess with it and clean it and all that stuff. And they give you that giant explosion graphic of how to do so. They're not afraid of you messing with this knife because they know they built a good one. Now I've had this one for I don't know, a couple of weeks now, and it's already starting to get little snail trails in it, which I think of as just awesome, like personalized little tiny micro scratches that get into the titanium. And I've actually always loved that about titanium pocket knives, and the finish on here is just really awesome. And I don't mind snail trails on my knives at all. If you don't like them, you can actually send this back to Chris Reeve and get it reblasted, and it'll clean it all up. I don't know why you would do that unless you were not carrying it or using it. But hey, that's up to you. Again, I've had this for a while and is breaking in very nicely. Once you find the sweet spot of opening for this knife, it definitely will not be hard to do anymore. At first, however, my one gripe about this knife, the only gripe I have about this knife, is this right here. The lock bar. When you go to close the knife, it's a little bit sharp right there, and it definitely can wear out your thumb. My thumb was a little bit sore for a couple of days after I got this. That's not just me whining. It is rather sharp, even though it's milled out right there a little bit, and it is kind of knocked down. It's not like super sharp, but it's titanium, so it does kind of stick in to the fat of your thumb when you're closing it. It doesn't bother me at all anymore, but maybe for the first week or so, because I was playing with it a lot, you know, hurt your thumb. Honestly, it's kind of a nitpick. This is a phenomenal knife, both in design and like reality. When you have one in your hands, it's just kind of stunning to hold. I wonder if there'll ever be like an iterative design in the future like they did with the Zabenza, maybe moving the pocket clip or softening the edges of that lock bar that I complained about. Those are maybe the kind of things that do kind of show their age just a little bit. They're definitely expensive, but the value is there. I believe they're worth it, especially if you value the history of knife making and collecting. These aren't really meant to be safe queens, although you can do whatever you want with your knife. CRKs are tough, just meant to be used. They get better with age, I believe. And now I like some of the new designs that are coming out in the knife world just fine. Kind of the sleek and the futuristic types of things that We Knives are putting out. Riot. I really like my new Kunwu S-Tau. I really have enjoyed that thing quite a bit, but there's just something really special about holding and using an absolute classic. And this is one of the most classic, iconic knives around. It's part of my top 3 of the US knife makers: Chris Reeve, Hinderer, and Spartan. And if you can find an Umnumzaan, you might feel like it's an instant classic. Pretty pumped about it. I'm really excited that's in Magnacut. That's super cool, and I just love it. Highly recommended if you can get your hands on one to at least go to the shop and try it out if you have the chance. If you already know you want one and you see one listed online, grab it quick because it will be gone in minutes. Thank you so much for watching and supporting my channel. Thanks to my patrons. Thanks to everybody who supports Buckskeer Box. I appreciate you very much. Have a great day.